Okay, thanks for the tip. And I see it very useful to understand this when you, as maybe as a teacher, as a trainer, or as a conference host or meeting host, you need to have a new set of skills in managing remote meeting or teaching effectively. And another one is, the topic that we mentioned before on Zoom missile. So what is exactly Zoom missile in the remote meeting? Can you brief about this?
Yeah, tips and techniques to avoid Zoomicide. So
Zoomicide, it's in the core of your book.
I feel a little bit bad about that choice of word, because basically I'm using a play to avoid suicide, right? Or homicide.
Anyway, it's not suicide, just Zoomicide.
Zoomicide, right? It means just deciding that I've had too many of these Zoom meetings. I'm going to kill somebody or myself. Because I have had people say they're just completely zoomed out. They use that term and they say it's just so tiring. So the whole idea here is to have balance. You really do want to have balance in your day, in your interactions, having yourself set up without the distractions we talked about, setting up the technology correctly, taking it with sense of humor. We didn't mention that before, but it's, seeing that things will go wrong and you can still laugh about it. The best example I saw of this was, again, Hitotsubashi University. They did a virtual graduation last year. So they had a graduation class. Everyone was asked ahead of time to set up their virtual background. If you're a professor, if you were the MBA professor or EMBA, if you're a student, if you were the doctorate candidate, they had different backgrounds. All these directions came to us from the head of the program, and 3 times reminding us all the things you need to do. And then, of course, 10 minutes before, we're supposed to log in. And what do you know? 3 or 4 professors, they didn't read the directions. They hadn't set it up. But instead of getting frustrated and saying, oh, didn't you read the memo? This is bad, the director just said, oh, here's what you do. Go in here, click here. Here's another link. You can do this. And just keeping it light. Keeping it light is a way to avoid the struggle. And like I said, I felt a little bit guilty because I was speaking with the international head of sales for Zoom. So they're very happy, right? They've sold so much of their product. He said, Andrew, why do you have to say Zoomicide? That sounds so negative. I said, well, I'm being playful with it. I want people to enjoy. I mean, that's the whole point of, I believe, what we're doing in my profession anyway, training, educating, but it's behind it is giving you more confidence, giving you more competence, so skill, and then mostly it's helping you enjoy your work more. And even if the work is these kind of remote meetings, well, how can I enjoy them more? It's not my ideal way to have a meeting. I much prefer face-to-face, but there's some benefits, some advantages, right? So let's use them. Let's see what we can do. And so when it came to truly avoiding the Zoomicide, it's all about following the tips that we've already talked about. You can find more in the book, or a podcast will be coming out later. I'm sure there's more and more to explore. There's always more to explore, but we can learn as we grow and do. And if you follow these kind of things, I hope your next Zoom meeting goes better.
Yes, sure. Actually, after interviewing you, talking with you all this, I have learned more and try to get better and better every time we conduct the interview via Zoom or in other platform.
Yes.
Thank you for this. And one last question, on regarding the balance, how you balance, because we come out from the life of a physical meeting and now remote meeting. How do you balance in this kind of remote meeting? Yeah. I mean, to make sure that you really, you talk about physical balance, but now we talk about the remote balance. So what is it? Any usefulness of remote balance that you bring into the remote meetings?
Yes, very much. So, when we talk about balance, it's been one of AMT Group's action values from the start of our company. Balance was the third of 5 values because it would fit right in the middle, right? We have listening and encouraging and empowering, and we have creativity. And then in the middle, we have balance in everything, right? And the issue is with remote work, there's a different balance needed. It's especially, I believe, the balance between very focused. I mean, this is the most focused I ever am speaking. I'm looking right at a green dot of a camera, right? And the widest I would be is on a screen of maybe several people here. So we need to give ourselves balance time away from that focus. We need we need to get our eyes and our brains focused way off the computer for a while, meaning outside the horizon, nature. I've noticed that you're doing, I look at your life, so people, I think you're doing that exact thing. I know you're doing a lot of remote work, but you're also spending more time in a garden, right? Touching the actual soil, actually getting in, and that's completely opposite. And I think we need more of that to keep real balance. And the balance needed here is especially because the recreation we used to do, the way people relaxed was watch a screen. They would sit there, let's watch a movie, let's watch a TV program. And if your whole day is already, and maybe we were doing that a lot before, maybe in many of our offices, we were also looking at computer screens, but often we'd have real meetings with people around a table. And now all those meetings are taking place on the screen. So the big question of balance is getting away from the computer and those screens, even if it's just going for a walk in nature or listening to music, something that you're away from this. We need the balance. You need to go back and forth. When I first learned and was teaching about work-life balance, I'm sure you've had that expression in Cambodia. People talk about work-life balance. And in Japan, for years, it's been so challenging because people don't have much work-life balance here. And maybe it's impossible to get a real balance, but we can at least get a creative tension where we can integrate our life. But many people, I think the solution is what you're doing, balancing the work on a screen with work in the soil, or work in the beach, or work, not work, but just recreation, because we need that balance. That, to me, that's what I'm mentioning here in the book. It's kind of it's get off of the computer. And it's not easy because I spend a lot of time myself on the computer.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Actually, you pull up all I have done, during this tough time, and we had to manage. It's quite challenging, like mostly, even during my consultation, even during my the meeting I have to conduct remotely. Even I interview people like what we are doing today. And even now, not only you are in talk show, but when I interview people in Cambodia, the word guest speaker, we have to be careful because they have to stay indoor on the other side of the not in the same studio as me. So I have to understand this, and we understand each other actually to make sure that our interview goes well, and also we balance our life. I see that some of my guest speaker, even you mentioned earlier that before our sorting, you went out to do exercise as well, right?
Yes, I did. I went and did jump rope.
And my guest speaker on the other program in personal finance, he go out for cycling, and some go for hiking in the part of the country to make sure that. But for me, as I do not go out very far, so I spend my time on the rooftop to touch the soil, and also in the field on the outskirts of Phnom Penh. So that's how to make life more balanced with myself, and also with the family, and also some with friends as well.
Yes,
but and we cannot meet face to face.
Absolutely. And the one more tip that I would like to leave everybody with, I didn't include it in the book because I hadn't thought about it at the time. One of the big things that we miss is after a meeting or after an interview, normally in the COVID days or in the non-remote days, now we go out and we have a coffee or we have a beer, we talk, right? Or even after the meeting in a client location, then we talk a little bit small talk going to the elevator. Maybe after a internal meeting in our company, but I had this one question I still wanted to ask the boss, but I didn't feel like I should raise it right here. But nowadays, meeting is over, right? We hit end meeting, it's done. Now you're back by yourself in your room at home. I would add one small tip. If you're the leader of a meeting, you could say, hey, yeah, the meeting is over. And if something occurs to you in the next few minutes or even tomorrow related to our meeting, hey, here's my private meeting room, as the boss, especially, hey, just ping me, just come in and, we can have a little 5-minute follow-up at any time. Because I think that's the part I feel. And I did every interview we've had so far. I always feel like, this was great. I was with Sopeep. Then I had a chance to talk with Linen a little bit more. It's great. And then all of a sudden it's end meeting. And oh yeah, that's right. I'm here remote again, alone again, naturally.
So thank you very much for the last tip. It's very good, after meeting, after interview or after conference. So actually, so you touch a lot of points, many points that are really useful for the remote meeting. And I see that we can apply this. I expect that our audience will apply it. And also for us as in the Pavilion Studio, through our DG Academy, we will also apply it as well to make sure the next meeting will be more innovative and more improved. And so we are coming to the end of our meeting today, our interview. Andrew, thank you for your time on this. And I would like to summarize a bit of point in our interview. So we touch on how to develop remote meetings, how to make it impactful through understanding the remote technology, through understanding of remote space, and have a good listening skill, and also need to improve our, understanding of the other part of the speakers or the partners, and also we need clarification. We need to make sure our point is specific and short. Must clarify it, and we also need to understand when to be zoom in or zoom out, and also need to balance ourselves in the remote meetings or remote conference. So are these all the points that you mentioned?
There it is. I'm sure there may be more. If anybody has questions, if they say, hey, I tried this, but it didn't work, or do you have some suggestion about this? I know that you're happy to take those questions and happy to address them in a future interview too, anytime.
Yeah, thanks so much, Andrew. So it's a good talk, and we will have another talk or topics next week. Great. Also, and hopefully we will be improving, and so that we all really gain the useful tips and ideas, and we learn from during the situation. We help each other during the tough time.
Excellent.
Okay, so Andrew, have a good day in Tokyo.
Thank you. You too, in Cambodia.
ខ្ញុំបាទហិនសុភាពនិងសហការីសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណចំពោះការតាមដានទស្សនារបស់លោកអ្នកទាំងអស់ហើយយើងខ្ញុំនឹងវិលមកជួបលោកអ្នកនៅពេលក្រោយៗទៀតហើយសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណចំពោះការតាមដាននិងការគាំទ្រកន្លងមកហើយយើងខ្ញុំនឹងព្យាយាមធ្វើយ៉ាងណាដើម្បីឲ្យការសន្ទនាទាំងឡាយនៅលើ DG Academy លោកអ្នកអាចយល់បានបាទប៉ុន្តែសូមអភ័យទោសផងដែរយើងមិនទាន់អាចរៀបចំនៅការបកប្រែជាភាសាខ្មែរដើម្បីឲ្យលោកអ្នកទាំងអស់អាចយល់បាននៅចំណុចសំខាន់ៗបាទយើងនឹងព្យាយាមធ្វើនៅពេលឆាប់ៗនេះដើម្បីសម្រេចបំណងរបស់យើងឲ្យបានបាទសូមអរគុណសូមជម្រាបលា